The Queen of Granada, by M. Riff. Chapter 151, The Map. When Rita returned to the VW bus, Espanto had already settled down on the bed. It glanced at Rita with half-open eyes and again floated back to its nap. Rita lifted the edge of the curtain and looked out. It wasn't quite dark yet and there were still people on the sidewalk across the street. She probably had a couple of more hours before the antiques dealer and his men would attack the house. Joining Espanto on the bed, she grabbed the book again and began flipping through it. But they were all incomprehensible. The book had been translated from Arabic several centuries ago and was handwritten in calligraphy. Already when the book was conceived in Arabic, it could have been written in a kind of code language. The Sultan had probably planned to build secret protection rooms, armory and treasury under his castle, the Alhambra. Also, during a siege, the defenders should also be able to leave discreetly the castle and return with supplies. These catacombs, which were already there since Roman times, could also have been crucial for the castle's defense. Enemies could sneak in through them and take over the castle. Without much motivation, Rita continued to flip through the book until she reached the attached map at the end. She examined the map from all angles but could not decipher it. If they had used secret codes to write the book, they would have probably done the same for the map, as well. Suddenly she heard the noisy moped with the defective exhaust pipe. The man, who apparently worked at the other end of town, drove by every day through the same road in the opposite direction in the morning, and returned late in the evening. Rita could imagine that the noise of his moped had an impact on the daily routine of many people along its route. Their day began when they heard the moped in the morning and ended when it returned in the evening. Rita lifted Espanto onto her arm as she headed to the kitchen, saying, "Now, let's get those eggplant slices frying." She positioned the cat on the dining table and remarked, "You're going to stay right here, keep your ears sharp, and alert me if the bandits return." After donning Rosen's apron, she set the pan on the hot plate and poured in some oil. Following Rosen's advice, she included a teaspoon of potato flour in the bowl, in addition to the flour and a pinch of chili. This should help the rest adhere better to the eggplant slices. The crackling sounds assured her that the oil was hot enough as she dipped the tip of the very first slice. The rest was easy. It was reminiscent of roasting potato chips. Every time she removed the toasted slices, she replaced them in the pan with fresh ones. Espanto perched on the table, observing her actions with curiosity. On a couple of occasions, he perked up his ears and glanced toward the street, but it turned out to be a false alarm, and he settled down again. Rita had just finished coating the final toasted slices with melted sugar and saffron when Espanto leaped down to the floor and circled her feet in a figure-8 pattern, attempting to charm his way into a taste test. Rita gazed down at the cat and, with a meaningful look, said, "My little friend, I don't think this is to your liking." Eventually, Espanto's patience wore thin, and he did what he wasn't permitted to do when Rosen was at home. He hopped onto the kitchen table and sniffed at the eggplant slices. As a safety precaution, he sniffed them once more, but he unmistakably disliked them. He felt slighted that Rita was frying something exclusively for herself. He jumped down from the table, returned to the VW bus, and started playing with the ball of yarn, lying on the bed. Finally, he pushed it down to the floor and under the small cabinet under the sink. When he couldn't get it back out, he gave up, crawled out of the ventilation duct and disappeared into the darkness of the night.